Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Life Learning. Today I'm going to walk you through and kind of talk to you about how to pass the Math Praxis core test. It's a mouthful. This is the basic skills test that you'll really need to pass for WGU or any other school for that matter that you're attending. I believe the majority of states in the United States ask you to pass some sort of basic skills tests, and this is part of it. I think it's important and really crucial to kind of show everyone that you know how to solve math on any given problem. And that's really the reason why they're asking you to take this test. Can you do the math? That's all they really want to know. You can opt out to take the SAT or the ACT, but I found those were just a little bit more difficult. When I took the ACT, I remember it was like 60 questions in 60 minutes. Very problematic, not enough time to review afterwards. And I remember my teacher saying that, oh, this is how it's going to be in college. You know, this is the kind of test that you'll be having to take. Not true at all, because in college they give you plenty of time to take your test. I've never taken a test in college where it's been like that, 60 questions in 60 minutes. I've never had a test like that. So I find that the Praxis core is just a very general kind of basic kind of test. It's a great option to take if you're pursuing education and you don't want to take the ACT or the SAT. So it's just a great option out there. Everything that I mention, I will put down below. There'll be links for that kind of stuff. Everything that I kind of talked to you about, these are all strategies that I recommend that you use to really pass this thing. Before I get started, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. It just really helps me out. Also, if you are new here, welcome. I'm really glad that you're here joining me today. I hope I'm able to give everyone here just insight on how you can really pass this math test. So the test code is 5733. It's 90 minutes long, 56 questions. You do have selected response questions. So there are no essay kind of questions. You won't be writing any paragraphs or anything like that. They don't ask that of you. Your selected response questions, these are broken into like 3 categories. You do have multiple choice, which is nice, but you also have like selected entry. Like you'll write like a number or something. They'll actually want you to key it in. And you also have answers where you have like check boxes, like you're checking off more than one answer. So do keep in mind with that. I do like how they give you multiple choice, but I did not expect to see the check boxes or actually putting in a number. So I will say that up front, no one really kind of told me that. I was just told selected response, and I automatically assumed it was multiple choice, and that's not the case. You do have an on-screen calculator, but it's very basic, so I only recommend that you do use it for like major calculations that you have to do. The test is computer delivered, and most people ask that they do it at home. So I did mine at home. I think the nearest testing site for me was 4 hours away. So I decided to take it at home, and it's not very different from a WGU proctored exam. If you're a WGU student, you're already well familiar with being watched and going through those procedures to take an online exam. Very similar setup. I will say though that my proctor took about 20 to 30 minutes, I would say, about getting the whole test set up, going through the requirements, making sure my room was okay. I really had to take down a lot more stuff. I legit had to take off all these books that are behind me and put them on the floor to take this exam. So now that you know this, make sure your whole wall has like nothing on it, nothing within, you know, the parameters that you're going to be taking your test. Just that you're ready to go. I do not recommend that you take the Praxis all at once. I think this is a huge misstep. I think a lot of people are kind of, you know, thinking, oh, well, it's cheaper to take it all at once. Don't fall for that. It's a trap. it is going to cheapen your score because it takes way too long and it's a lot of information to know all at once. What you should do is take the math separate from the writing and the reading. That way you can really hone in on your math skills and not distracted by other sections of the test. I also want to say that your goal is not to get a high score. Your goal of this test is to pass, even if that's the minimum passing score. Make sure you check with your state to see for sure like what your score is that you need to pass. For my state, it was 150. I think that's generally the rule for most states, but again, check because I think some states are like 160, 170. So just make sure, first of all. 150 of a score that's like a D to a C. So you can shoot for a high score, but don't let that be your focus because again, all you really want is to pass this thing. So there are 3 sections of the test. The first section is numbers and quantity, and you'll have things like place value, ordering, whole numbers, I think percents, ratios, rates, that sort of thing. The next section is data, statistics, and probability, and this has basically what it sounds like. You're going to have to infer some data. You're going to have to look at some charts and graphs. They're going to want to know, okay, here's a problem. Which graph or chart do you need to use? Probability questions, measures of central tendency, which is mean, median, mode. And you have also got algebra and geometry for your next section. Again, basically what it sounds like. For your algebra, you're going to have like algebra problems, word problems, arithmetic problems that you're going to have to do. Sometimes single step, sometimes multi-step. It really just depends. For geometry, you've got shapes, you've got angles, you've got different lines, congruence, similarity. You've also got, perimeter, area, volume, circumference, things like that. For formulas, the only ones they give you, I think, is they do give you the radius and circumference of a circle, but and they also give you the areas of a triangle and rectangle and then volume for like a rectangular box. But any other formulas, you're going to have to make sure you know ahead of time because that's really all they give you. So I found that I didn't really use the formulas on this test because I had basically learned everything from my previous math courses, and I just made sure that I knew those formulas and other formulas before I actually took this exam. So WGU has resources to really help you pass this exam. They have a slideshow that I will link below that shows you all about the different resources, including steps for each. They recommend that you use EdReady to take like a diagnostic test to see where you're at. Then you can begin using their resources like the cohort, study guides, EdReady for all of your actual practicing of the concepts. They give you practice tests as well. All of these resources are very important because WGU helps you on your journey, and I love that they provide all of this. My other university did not do anything like this. I was basically thrown to the wolves without any great resources or guidance on how to really pass it, which I think is added to my stress. But after coming to WGU, I could not be more impressed by the resources they have provided and how they encouraged me along the way. The instructors were super helpful. I found my mentor was very encouraging. Everyone just really helps you and with any questions that you might have as well. Another resource that I would like to share with you that I also use in addition to the WGU resources is a woman named Kathleen Jasper. Jasper was an educator herself teaching high school, and she later worked as a curriculum specialist and an administrator for her school system. After she got her doctorate degree, she specialized in teacher and leadership preparation. She actually owns her own company and provides resources and webinars for future teachers and educators to earn specific certifications for their state. She has helped many people pass, and she used to design tests, I think, for those kinds of exams too. She has a motto that you will hear her say a lot: think like a test maker, not like a test taker, and the whole theme is used throughout. For the Math Praxis Core, she has two options. You can use her study guidebook and get a layout of all the Praxis Core tests that you will have to take after the math one. She teaches you more in depth about the test and how to pass, and has free resources that come with it, like her practice tests. The other option is to use her online preparation course that really comes with a PDF format of the study guidebook, videos, walkthroughs, and other resources that are not free to the public. The course does offer more than the study guide does, which is why it costs more. But if you are interested, I recommend you use just her study guidebook, and I will explain how I used it to study in a few minutes. The book was all I needed to really kind of pass. I didn't feel the need to go ahead and purchase the online course, but if you feel like you need the extra stuff, extra fluff I call it, feel free to buy her online course. It's completely up to you. I just felt like the book was enough. A few other tips that I highly recommend. I recommend that you don't take the Math Praxis Core until after you've done your basic kind of general math courses. For WGU, I think this is like D 125 to 127. So 125, 126, and 127. Because it really teaches you everything that you'll need to know for the math praxis. I also recommend you do this because you can save all your notes and flashcards you use for those courses for the Praxis Core. I saved all of my notes and flashcards. I wrote out additional ones that I might need, and I actually discarded a lot of them that I didn't feel like was going to be on the test, and I used the study guide from Kathleen, Jasper, and WGU resources to know that, okay, I'm not going to really need this kind of problem. I'm just going to discard it. I also recommend that if you have to actually create new flashcards, or you didn't save the flashcards or whatever, do not use Quizlet or another app. Actually write it out by hand and maybe throw in some color as well. I've learned that research kind of shows that if you really write it out by hand, you're more likely to remember it, not just memorize it, but remember it and learn it. And that's crucial. That's a crucial part of the Math Praxis Core. So on test day, I highly recommend that you use the triage test taking system. I have a video that I will post below about further kind of explains all of this, but in a nutshell, what it basically says that you do is that on test day, the first time you go through the test, do the easy questions first, skip the hard ones, so bookmark them, and come back later to them. The questions that you really want to skip, these are the ones that'll take multiple steps to take, so just skip that and come back later. The second time you go through the test, you're going to do the ones that you skipped, and you're going to bookmark any question that you're just unsure about. I do recommend, but before you bookmark, that you go ahead and put an answer down, because for the third time through, you may not have time to get through it. But if you do, it is optional. You basically just review all the questions that you kind of answered, any questions that you answered but they're bookmarked, just make an educated guess. I also recommend that you don't overwork or second guess yourself, especially with any kind of test that you take. As I've mentioned with WGU, never second guess yourself. I always have a huge problem with second guessing myself, but I didn't for this test because I know that it's the one thing that you should never do on a test. So don't overwork it, don't second guess yourself, make an educated guess, and move on. So last but not least, I'd like to share with you my game plan for really passing this thing and the steps that I took to kind of pass this. The first thing I did was I took the Ed Ready diagnostic test just to see where my score was after I passed all my general courses. Then I used Kathleen Jasper's study guide to really learn about the test, and she goes in depth about all the problems that you'll have to learn. I discarded flashcards at this point or made new ones. After that, I took my flashcards and I studied them. And then I used Ed Ready to really just practice my skills for about 1 to 2 weeks, I would say, until I felt like I was ready. Then I took a practice test by Kathleen Jasper, and I actually timed myself and wanted to kind of assess and see where I was after that. And I realized my score was better than I expected, and I felt like it was passing. So what I ended up doing was I used the WG resources, and I took like a practice test a day leading up to the day that I would take the exam. I also used their cohorts. I attended all their cohorts for the specific practice tests to really understand the mistakes that I might have made and to ask any questions that were needed. The day before test day, I didn't really study. I kind of like reviewed the flashcards, but I really didn't solve any problems at that point. I just went to bed, got up the next day, had a light breakfast, got my house ready, and just got myself in, you know, I put my game face on. I was ready to go. I was motivated. I was ready. Before I actually took the test, I had like a little dance session to release all the stress. Not that I was feeling super stressful, but just to let go of the little nerves and anxieties that I was having that morning, because it's normal to feel a little bit, little bit nervous. So that's what I did. I did like a little dance session. I had fun with it, and yeah. Your score will come back to you by mail for 2 to 3 weeks, but because there's no written stuff on it, you will get your final score as soon as you finish the test. Like on test day, you will have your score. Now, I do recommend that you make sure that the test will send your score not just to yourself, but to your state and to your school that you're attending, especially if you're a WGU student. They actually make sure before and during the test that you do this. And they give you I think there's like a verbal agreement that I had to give that I said, yes, I made sure of this or whatever. After much work and effort and all the dedication and diligence that I took with this exam, I was able to pass the Math Praxis core with a score of 178. Better than I expected. It was still a passing score. I just wanted, the bare minimum. I didn't really want any great high score. I wasn't shooting for that. I was just shooting for a pass score. And that's exactly what I did. And I'm super excited to share with you that I passed. Yay! Make sure when you do pass that you do celebrate. Make sure that you do that. So I think I went out to eat. I think I got some more books. I really celebrated and had a fun time with it. So yeah. Well guys, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching and being a part. I really hope I was able to help you prepare for the Math Praxis. I know it can be a little nerve-wracking, but I believe in all of you. You got this. And I truly believe that you are all going to pass. If you don't pass on your first time, don't be discouraged. It's not the first time that I've had to retake an exam. You got this. Just stay focused. You can do this. You will pass. Everything that I've mentioned below, as I said, I will put it down. I also have links if you're interested in Kathleen Jasper's stuff or her study guides. If you have any other questions or comments, please leave it down below. I will be happy to answer. I hope you all have a great day. Bye, guys.